going, right? Okay, let's roll.
All right, and we're rolling live at Zachert Stadium on the campus of Noda Vista High School. I'm Nick Rice. Along to my right is John Rice for our first broadcast together of the year on Riverside TV. Noda Vista, the site of a good one today. Plenty of fans, plenty of action and activity for a critical matchup between two teams out of the city of Riverside.
We're looking forward tonight to seeing Travis Carter's try to take the next step with his Hillcrest Trojans at 2-1, and they're in a new league. And they're playing with Poly, Hemet, Valley View. Who else is in here? Let's see. Poly, Valley View, Arlington, Rancho Christian. Just a new step, a step up, more challenging every week. And what Travis said in our conversation yesterday, among other things, was he's looking forward to the challenge. He thinks it's going to be a very contentious league. And what they have to do tonight is just improve a little bit on last week. They identified some mistakes with special teams and some turnovers. They worked hard on those things, and despite not getting in the football field until Thursday morning, he's looking forward to correcting their mistakes and getting better this week.
So Travis Carter was hired as Trojans head coach when he was 27. I mean, the talent of this young coach is off the charts. He has a good coaching staff too, and Hillcrest, led by Travis Carter, 6 years in with the program, 28 wins. They've made it to the playoffs 3 times, won a playoff game already, and now they're moving up in a weight class.
You know, and part of building a program block by block is staying the course and having long-term and short-term goals. And one of the things he was very happy with and confident in is his staff. He really believes he's built a great staff. Among them, he's got 2 on staff. His defensive coordinator, Josh Mason, one day he walked up to him when he took over, and he was a student teacher, and he asked him if he could help with the freshmen, and he said, "When do you want me to start?" He said, "Right now." So he's developed into an effective defensive coordinator. He also spoke highly of his other on-staff assistant, Matt Montello, offensive assistant, and he says his linebacker coach, Demetric Watts, is going to be a special head coach and a great leader. So that staff works quietly behind the scenes to support that program and build their culture, and he's very proud of that. And as a coach in the area, Travis is highly respected and generally considered to be one of the great young coaches in the area.
You know, Travis Carter, I like to name him to some degree. He looks like a Matt Damon, and he coaches like a Mike McDaniel, of the Dolphins. He's so innovative with his offensive schemes. You've watched film all week about Hillcrest and what they do. What are your thoughts?
I mean, you got to take one step at a time. He did talk about you have to build your offense around the talents and abilities of your players, and they have some challenges this year as far as size goes. So it's interesting to see he's put some wrinkles in his offense for 2 special receivers that he can move around, and his quarterback who both rushes and throws the ball. So it'll be developing week by week. They'll find their identity based on what their strengths are, and I'm sure it's going to be an exciting time when they gel around the playoff time, because he's got it all put together this year for a run.
Nick Rice and John Rice on here, as I know, no relation, but we'll figure that out as the
year
goes on. So John's been a coach around in Riverside and just in the CIF for the better part of half a century, close to.
About 40 years,
Not to age you there, John.
Yeah, that's okay.
So thoughts on La Sierra, the underdog tonight, deferring their option to the second half?
And as a coach, you want to get the ball. If your defense can make a stop and you get the ball the second half, we preferred usually to go on defense first. And if you give someone a chance, they'll choose offense. They don't want to go on defense twice. So interesting to see how the matchups will go. What you've seen the first series, you try to implement as far as weakness and matchups. So it's always very interesting to see the first series and what the strategy may be on each side of the ball.
Well, the strategy for La Sierra last year was to run the ball and play some keep away, and they did that very well in the first quarter of the game. They began last year's meeting against Hillcrest with a 7-minute drive over a dozen plays, and they scored the first points. Eddie Roy found Tristan Pasalacqua for a quick touchdown. 6-0 they led towards the end of the first as that kickoff's out of bounds. Hillcrest scored 7 touchdowns with 7 different players, a complete blowout since that point. And now the Trojans get the ball first, and what is on paper a mismatch, but it's why you play the game, John.
And this year he's relying on 2. He spoke highly of 2 receivers, and the stats bear that out. what he's going to try to do is isolate some mismatches with his receivers when he goes into 3 receivers to one side or a trips formation, and put one of the 2 receivers alone to see what kind of coverage he gets. And then
that was Nicholas Shaw, number 11, he was talking about.
Thank you. And so it's be exciting to watch the strategy. Travis and his staff work very hard. They're very well respected, and it's going to be interesting to see if he can find mismatches and exploit them and play the chess game all game long. It's going to be really fun to see that, and I think they're going to have a special year, and it'll be great to see them week to week. And I think we have them 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, 4 more regular season times. Now, we're going to see it at some point tonight. We had a kickoff waved off for some reason, offsides, I believe, on La Sierra. But here we go. Hillcrest 2-1, La Sierra 1-2 here in the Sun Belt against the River Valley, and a great measuring stick game for Hillcrest, just how good they look tonight.
You want to get better every week, and he really did talk about special teams, and they work really hard on specials. So we're looking forward to seeing the improvement tonight. And without turnovers, they had a couple devastating turnovers last week.
Andres Vargas. Ball off the tee at 7:02 local. Return to the 20 from Alfredo Vences. Their electrifying running back. He's a pretty good return man, too. And is shoved out of bounds near midfield. They'll give him 29 on the return. This is just the first of many times we're going to talk about number 1 tonight, Alfredo Vences.
Just impressive return. Great field position to start at the 50-yard line. He has it on the left hash. Again, he's going a tight end away from trips right away, and we see La Sierra playing a 4-man front with 2 linebackers and a few safeties. So it's going to be a great ball game.
Star running back Alfredo Vences, joined by veteran Matthew Ramos at quarterback. The low snap, he juggled it. Under immediate pressure, he'll get rid of it towards the sideline and out of bounds.
A little point that Travis did make about last week. They did roll out and throw a crucial interception that was returned for a touchdown, and he said they worked on that fire situation where the quarterback had to learn to throw the ball away, and he did that. He didn't make a mistake. He threw the ball away, and you live to play another day.
It happens in any level. We just saw it on Thursday night yesterday when Tua threw a pick 6 to all but seal the win to Ingram of Buffalo. It happens in every level, and certainly a growing moment for this quarterback. He hands to Vences, and this is what he did in so many games last year. Vences gains 32 on the ground, wrapped up by Scott inside the La Sierra red zone.
And if you watch the replay, the offensive line just does a fantastic job opening up the lanes for Vences. Just fantastic, and they're going hurried here, going at a fast pace.
Back to the ground. Vences cuts it back to the 17-yard line. It seems every Eagle defender has to hit him in order for him to go down. Gain of 2.
And now they'll have to, player's helmet went off. They'll have to loot. He'll have to go out. We see Hillcrest trying to go at pace here. 2 plays. They move the ball from the 50 down to the 15-yard line. So second down.
This is really some athlete. You can see him here on the screen, Alfredo Vences. He's small in stature, but his ability to find those little holes, very unprecedented. Quick slant to Shaw, and he's in for the touchdown.
Great job by Shaw. They went single coverage, and they took advantage. You'll see on the replay. You'll see it. You'll see the defensive backs are playing off down by the goal line, and they run double slants and a beautiful throw and catch and a broken tackle and a great start for Hillcrest.
And Hillcrest was given the short field. They went 51 yards in 4 plays. And for La Sierra, they may have some solid athletes, but they're relatively undersized. And 6'3", 170-pound Shaw broke through 2 tackles with ease. It almost seemed as though it was, like a practice scrimmage for Nicholas Shaw. The extra point good from Aiden Allegra, 7-0 Hillcrest.
And one of the things Coach Carter talked about was being balanced on offense, and obviously the first series you have a plan, and here you go with the run, and this is the double slants for the touchdown, and we see a great break of a tackle here into the end zone. Big physical receiver, impressive, good start, runs and passes, move the ball quickly with pace. Interesting to see if La Sierra will make any adjustments to try to counter the tempo.
So Travis talked about him being kind of singled up on a side of the field. With that size, having one-on-one coverage, very tough to cover that guy.
Yeah, and you got to make a decision. And having a couple other options, if they do take him away, there are other options for the offense.
And one of those is Julian Sandoval, who came in as the league leader in receiving, but was outdone by his teammate on that touchdown grab. 2 return men for La Sierra. This is Chaz Scott, who reels it in. To about the 32 he goes, a gain of a dozen. Ethan Ramirez with the tackle.
And another small point, but effective point, is the kickoff team staying in their lanes, making sure that they don't collapse too much and preventing a long return. Now you see La Sierra starting at the 31-yard line instead of the 50.
And they'll lead things off with their quarterback, Eddie Roy, who has had a dramatic run at the Eagles. Last year, he was ineligible for half the season due to transfer rules and missed 5 games for La Sierra, but threw 5 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in his limited time in play. His 4th start of this season, he'll begin with a draw. TJ Avalana, the typical bell cow for this offense, picks up 4 on his first carry.
Interesting strategy on defense. They are playing a 3-man line, but they have the defensive ends shaded to the inside of the tackles. It's called the tight front. But what's important about that is they try to be strong on the inside run and force plays designed for the inside to bounce outside, and that's what they got that time.
Avalana again on the call, gets into the secondary, runs through 1 defender and picks up 8 on the ground. You had mentioned the inside stunting for this defensive line. It's a big reason why Hillcrest doesn't quite have the sack totals you may hope out of a defense.
Great point.
But their run defense has been stout all year. They did a good job in the loss to the Rams of keeping their lead running back in check. In fact, here's a look at that run defense, Coach.
And
flag is down on the loss of 2.
And I think if you do see the replay, you'll see they chose to blitz and bring 2 outside rushers to take care. And sometimes you're calling something to just stop momentum, and you'll see 2 outside rushers on this. You'll see 2 people come from the outside, the lineman flip, and you'll see they sent 5-6 men. So great job overwhelming the blocking. And they get some momentum, but then they give it back on a penalty.
You know, we're looking at the replay here. I did not see a face mask, but obviously the officials have a better angle than us.
So La Sierra wants to go fast as well, and they go to an unbalanced formation where they're going to run toss, it looks like.
TJ Avalana, his 3rd carry, dragged down to the 40, gain of 3.
Strength versus strength, and a good sign of that is that Arlington is flying to the football. Good cutback.
TJ Avalana, we don't have numbers from him this year, but last season he averaged 4.3 yards a carry and 2 touchdowns. Looks a little bit like a Doug Martin prototype for those fans of the NFL about a decade ago. Small in stature, but he has plenty of lower body strength. Not that time, buried in the backfield.
Great play. They loaded the line of scrimmage again. You'll see them walk up. One of the linebackers will drop. Just a great counter by the defensive coordinator, Josh Mason. 2 timed blitzes that have resulted in losses in the last 3 plays. So now you got them what's called behind the sticks, which means they've got a long way to go. And they're looking like they're playing press man at the top, if you take a look at that, and they're playing off man down here. So let's see if you get a blitz. Yes, they're sending 5 men.
But that is a deep shot from Eddie Roy, and Chaz Scott makes the catch.
Hey, well-placed ball. Well-placed ball. He got the ball off before the blitz came. You'll see them overwhelmed with numbers, and the quarterback just did a great job getting rid of the ball before the blitz came. And you see them coming off the edge from the left side. Threw off his back foot, and great completion.
Roy to Scott on a 3rd and 13. How about a gain of 30, Coach? And they're in the red zone.
There's that same play again.
Tossed Avalana for the gain of 5 until second effort goes a guy, yet again, like Doug Martin. Look at that incredible lower body strength.
And that they hit the same place and had the same results, so they went back to that play. So they overload the formation with a few running backs and just run a simple toss. And they're in that same formation again. As you can see at the bottom there, they have a big tight end H-back type, and now they're
running him on the counter, and Hillcrest had too many guys in the backfield, Coach, a loss of 3.
Effective play calling on defense by Josh Mason. It seems whenever they have a big gain, he's been able to load the box with extra defenders the next play. And so far, he's 3 for 3 at stopping momentum, and now is a key down. We're coming up here, got a timeout, try to strategize and take advantage of this great field position. And Hillcrest, if the first 4 or 5 plays are any instance, you're probably going to see some pressure here.
You know, we had talked to Travis Carter going into the game tonight, and I felt the same way he felt. Just little miscues last week contributed to their 31-26 loss to Ramona. Special teams was a problem, but defense was a problem for them too. We saw it on this drive. They executed, forced 3rd and 13, and gave up the big play.
Yeah, and they just have to keep plugging. You teach good technique. You have to teach resilience. You got to work situations in practice and force the other quarterback to make plays, and he did. So you saw Coach Watts there and Coach Mason talking to the defense, and it's a big down here, first big down here, 3rd down.
And here we go. It's 3rd
All right.
down.
Sean Childs checks in at running back. He was the pulling tight end a play ago.
Check the single coverage at the top of the screen on the left. That's where they hit the first down. And now they changed cadence and made a mental mistake. That's just a mental mistake, an unforced error.
Hillcrest a year ago was about as good as anybody in, avoiding the penalties and avoiding the big mistakes. That's been a big theme all year for them.
Common early in the year, kids are excited, and it's a matter of discipline. They'll get that straightened out, but it's a critical penalty. And it seems like they're flipping the line. They're loading the box right now, and we'll see if they can take advantage of that. Looks like we have a timeout, a stoppage on the field. There's a legal procedure, and now false start, and now they're going to give those yards back.
But it still works out for them. La Sierra has a 1st and goal.
Yep.
The Eagles, a strong drive here led by some veterans who we saw last year play well in spots. Eddie Roy Sr., TJ Avalana, and Sean Childs. A strong running game is La Sierra this year, but make no mistake, they lean on Roy, who is a capable quarterback. We saw the beautiful throw last time. He has yet to throw an interception this year, does Eddie Roy. And on 1st down, he'll survey what appears to be a 3-4 defense.
So there's a second shift by Hillcrest defensive linemen. That shift is designed to distract the offensive line. That's the second time they ran it, and it did cause one of the offensive linemen on La Sierra's team to jump. So that's a plan. It's a great job by Josh Mason. Now they set him back. Now this formation they've run 2 times. They've run toss to down at the bottom on the right side. So we'll see if they have a counterplay. So there's that shift again.
Oh, they'll go to the air. Roy taps the football and is buried for a sack. A loss of 6. Jose Beltran has the first Hillcrest sack of the year.
Fantastic effort at a crucial time. They meet the challenge, and you got to love that. And here's the replay here. You're just going to see a great shift. Beltran just beat his blocker, made a key sack, and now you're forcing them into a tough situation.
From 1st and goal at the 7 to 2nd and goal at the 24-yard line. We did see this drive sparked by a 30-yarder to Scott. Roy's hit as he throws, incomplete.
So now you have the advantage shifted to the defense here. The momentum shifted in a matter of a few plays. Nick, it just seems like the momentum shifted. They went down, they were ready to score. Hillcrest had made a mistake, and they showed some resilience.
Yeah, last week a very similar theme. Hillcrest went into the half up 13-10, had all the momentum. Then brutal turnovers really turned the game around a week ago. The pick 6 we talked about, a couple fumbles. They lost in the second half of that game, and Hillcrest lost their first of the year, 31-27. And Roy throws his first pick of the year. This one's taken back to the 20.
There he goes.
Here he goes with no Eagle in front of him.
And more importantly, no flags. I don't see any flags on the field. What a great job on their defense. You can feel the confidence the last 4 or 5 plays, and they get a turnover right after a sack. Gotta love the start by Hillcrest. They are fired up. You do have the crew meeting at the center of the field.
And they're pointing at about the 15 in the area of defensive holding.
Do you see a flag anywhere, Nick?
Right at the, I think the 20 or so.
I misspoke.
That was Nicholas
That's-
Bernal, by the way, with a pick six.
So did it happen
Yep, holding on
before?
The interception still stands.
Okay, so
First and 10, Trojans.
if the
Oh,
the
interesting.
yeah, and if you look at the play here, the defense, the holding will be after the interception. It's kind of a misnomer, it's defensive holding, but after the interception, they're going to call holding. So it'll be maybe here somewhere.
Let's see.
They're going to call holding right there in front of the ref. He threw him down at the 15.
Yep, there's
so
the flag.
they have the ball. It's wonderful. What a great job by Hillcrest. Unfortunate that La Sierra had some momentum and lost it there, but they were effective moving the football.
As mentioned, Eddie Roy, his first pick of the year on over 60 passes. Tough break for them. And now this Trojans offense scoring over 35 points per game with this marvelous offensive line, one of them hopping on late. A chance for them to snag some momentum with a bit under 7 minutes left in a first quarter dominated by the Trojans. They'll go to the ground. This is Vences, who from the 7-yard line makes about 4 men miss. Finally dragged down at about the 18.
He's impressive. Got a lot of what you call wiggle, and he has shifted and broken tackles. And when you get 11 yards on first down and you're going at pace, the tempo's fast. They're making La Sierra line up fast. They're catching them in some flops with the defense. There's a guy corner running across the field. Another first down for the Trojans.
Louis Fajardo, his first call of the night, and it's a good one. A great block, too, at the 30, and he's out of bounds.
Great saving tackle by the safety. So they have definitely found a weakness, and they're exploiting the right side of La Sierra's defensive line, but they have another penalty killer.
Yeah, that was
It's
a
killer.
hold, so I believe that was on Hudson Nguyen, number 12. I had said a great block, maybe a little too good. Here's a look
Oh,
at
there you
Nguyen.
go at the bottom.
Bottom of your screen. Yep, that's Nguyen.
Oh. Well, I'm telling you, they
That was a
have
strong block.
they have just yes it was, and the effort is impressive. They have run to their offensive left almost every play that they've gained yards.
They must be
it's been
seeing
to the left
something
side.
out there.
And there's a pass coming, and there's
And it's a deep one to Nicholas Shaw. And not too often is Shaw overthrown on a play like that.
tell you he had his. If you look at the replay, you'll see him get distance between the corner and himself. He ran right by him. So I'm sure they'll come back to that. Just watch he had a cushion on him, and he ran right by him and just extended it. And they'll go back to that again. This is an impressive athlete. Some speed.
And what is really encouraging about Hillcrest is the potential additions to this program at receiver. Another run from Louis Fajardo, and he powers his way to the 35-yard line. Sean Childs with the stop.
He had a good story about Louis being a persistent team player. That maybe we can get to that story later, but he spoke very highly of Louis.
5'5", 155 pounds, Louis Fajardo. An outstanding run there. In fact, he even had to pull down his helmet as it was getting pulled around there. A 1st and 10, and Julian Sandoval has nothing but turf in front of him.
Impressive.
That's a 65-yard catch and run. Touchdown, Julian Sandoval.
You know, and they set that up beautifully with runs, and the defensive backs ended up playing the run hard. In the replay, you'll see them all key the run, which opens up space behind the linebackers, and they took advantage of that and ran a slant right behind the linebackers.
He
Just
is
a
gassed.
beautiful throw. If you see that picture, you're going to see some linebackers come up, and it's just a beautiful throw and a beautiful catch. I mean, look at that. Just outreached hands, and then
In
he can
stride,
show
Coach.
and his speed. Just very effective and impressive.
Aiden Allegria for the extra point. And that kick is good. Ramos, 8 touchdown passes this year and 4 to Sandoval. The other 4 to Shaw, we saw, who grabbed one a moment ago, capping a 4-play, 93-yard drive.
And the good thing about that is, if you're the offensive staff, is you're able to move the ball on the ground, and you're effective with the pass because your run is forcing La Sierra to play up tight. And we're out of this picture. You have about 8 or 9 guys biting on the run fake. just a gorgeous throw, beautiful throw.
Almost
nice
like
play
those
design.
summer 7-on-7s, Coach.
Yep. He's throwing against error. It's a great design play. It's designed to do exactly what it did, which is draw the defense up on the run and throw it right over the linebacker's head. So great start here for Hillcrest. La Sierra did move the ball, so if they can get in a rhythm, they can get back in the game.
Here's the run up the kickoff, a bit short. It'll drift back the return man to the 17-yard line, Chaz Scott. He gets a block and is wrapped up at about the 25. We saw, as you mentioned, a 3rd and 13 conversion from Eddie Roy in this offense. Some good things overall. And for Hillcrest, I'm sure they were looking at some of the open alleys in the secondary. It appeared plenty of guys were open throughout that drive.
So their answer was to load the box. You take one thing away, and an effective offense has to be able to go somewhere else. So they put more men near the line of scrimmage, but they opened up, as you said, lanes behind them. So La Sierra now did move the ball effectively, and if they can just keep a drive together without penalties and turning the ball over, it's going to be a very good ball game.
Two drives, 2 touchdowns for the Trojans. After the long La Sierra drive last time out, they'll go run, and Childs is buried in the backfield right away. Number 62, Ivan Padilla with the tackle.
Great pursuit. Again, they are, by their alignment and design of the defense, Josh Mason is calling a great game and forcing them to bounce the ball outside because of their position and their alignment inside the tackle box. So they're not able to run the ball so far in between the tackles without a cutback or a bounce. So interesting that Hillcrest is flipping the defense based on alignment.
Justin
Very
Escalante, Ivan Padilla, Miguel Mejenez up front for this Hillcrest defensive line. David Rodriguez as well. That's the 4-man front they've run on. And that defensive line has really made them one-dimensional.
You know, and they shifted. They did that shift. It's called a shift or a bounce, and a stem is another word for it. And they did it. That's the 3rd time they ran that, and the 2nd time in a row that La Sierra lineman jumped offside, or jumped for legal procedure. There it is again.
Childs the call, and he sweeps to about the 21-yard line. Not too often you see a defensive line create movement on the other side. It shows just how well coached this program is.
You know, and Nick, we did talk to Coach Carter before the game, and he did say they were able to get in some things this year, and the growth and maturation of the defensive scheme, they were going to try to do some different things. And when you move the defense like that, it gives offensive line some trouble on their blocking assignments. Let's see if they do it again. They've done it twice in a row.
A 3-4 defense for Hillcrest on 3rd and long.
And then they shifted him to the outside, which is new.
Just a 3-man rush, jump ball, and there's nothing but Casper the Ghost out there, incomplete.
So if we do see a replay on this, the quarterback's like a little backyard football. He ran a 5-yard stop at the bottom. You see the quarterback point and tell him to turn around and go deep, and he overthrew him. So watch the quarterback here. He sees his receiver, and he just points him and says, change the route, go. Good, just go downfield, and overthrows him. That play broke down. Good defense by Hillcrest, and they force a punt.
So is that kind of a design, like an option design, do you think, for La Sierra?
No, I do think it was a short route, and the quarterback didn't want to throw it. It was covered, so he kind of improvised.
Now, why in the world would they run on a 3rd and 15 a short route like that?
I don't know. It may have been a design stop and go, and the receiver didn't do it, and he was telling him, hey, you're supposed to stop and roll, and maybe it was called that, and he didn't do it. That's a great point, Nick.
Yeah,
great point.
Miscommunication. Every now and then, like a broke clock, it happens sometimes, I guess.
Yep.
Andres Vargas takes the high snap and sends away a bit of a knuckleball. Reeled in right at the 50-yard line on a hop to Julian Sandoval, the man who just scored a touchdown on offense. And he runs out of bounds on a return of 26.
I'll tell you, although he did come up with that, I'm sure the special team staff and was just holding their breath when he went down. And a lot of times you tell them not to catch the ball below their knees, to let the ball bounce. And if you look at this, I mean, it's just
He ran into it,
a
too,
second.
by the way.
Yeah, and that's just really, I mean, with the turnovers they had last year and that bluff kickoff, it ended up fortuitous for them. But I'm sure they were holding their breath for a minute. And then you got another penalty.
So special teams miscues was the name of the issues last week for them. And then you have the fires in Orange County, and all of a sudden preparation for this game became a whole lot harder.
And 3 days, he said they were in the gym, but they were in the same boat as everybody else. But still, it's not the same when you're doing walkthroughs in a gym and not able to get out on the field until Thursday morning before school for about an hour.
And you wouldn't know it. It is a beautiful night here in the city of Riverside. Temperatures in the high 60s. Off of the penalty, Alfredo Ventus doesn't mind. Spilled by Andrew Bruno Riles, first down.
Wow.
Number 1, Alfredo Vences. 12 yards on the play.
Again, every time they run the ball, they're getting 10, 11, 12 or more yards on first down, and it's really tough to establish anything on defense when you're giving up that many yards on first down.
Left side of the line, Gabriel Vallejo and Isaiah Davis. Marvelous job on that side. Now, the aforementioned Davis jumped early for a false start, but trench play on both sides has been very impressive tonight.
Yep, and what you're looking at now is La Sierra has got to do something to stop those runs, and their answer, if you look at that, was their linebackers, some form of putting more people in the blocking, against the blocking scheme. So they walked 2 linebackers up to the line of scrimmage in hopes of disruption. They're just trying to get some momentum change and slow them down. And it looks like they're faking right now. I don't think they'll come.
That's a nickel. They will bring a bit of heat on the draw to Vences, but it's got to feel pretty good as a coach as he spun down to the 20 that it seems every play your front 5 is beating their front 4.
They are, and it's not once in a while. And I'm sure some of it has to do with their scouting and their coaching staff and their plan, and their execution has been almost flawless in the run game.
He did gain the penalty yardage back and then some, and with 1:34 left in the first, La Sierra will burn their second timeout. Really just, this was what we expected going in. La Sierra is the underdog tonight, and in the trenches, offense and defense. First few minutes, La Sierra looked formidable, but really the Trojans are taking it to them now.
And La Sierra had some issues on defense. They're giving up 29 points a game. 30 points a game is tough when you're giving that up, and they're scoring 18 a game. And then you have Travis and his offense and his offensive staff with Matt Montello just working to get better, finding out what they can do. They had a few miscues last week against Ramona, who has a stout defense, and so far they've been able to run and throw the ball and take advantage of their receivers in single coverage, and so it's been a great game plan, and we're just seeing La Sierra right now struggling to find an answer to stop them.
What is exciting about Hillcrest going forward is, as a coach, you don't mind any size or any speed regardless, just can you perform on the field. But it's got to feel pretty good that they have a big offensive line and receivers that create mismatches for almost anybody.
Oh, yeah, and he said they have 2 of them, and they try to take advantage of that. And because, their offensive backfield's a little small and scrappy. They're very scrappy but undersized, and he was very plain about that. But he said they're gamers and tenacious ball players.
Second down, they'll run jet sweep here as number 10, Jacob McDowell. He gallops to about the 12-yard line.
And Jason did a good job making a defender miss for those extra hours. Just a great job, McDowell. Great job. First time running wide. Everything's been in between the tackles, and you just see the jet sweep as you described with the lead block.
Vences can throw one too, by the way.
There you go.
They'll keep it on the ground. It's been working for them all night. Vences, a cloud of dust at about the 6-yard line. Caleb Quarto with the stop.
The offensive line had a great get-off. They got movement, and then Vences cut it back. Effective cutback lane when there was nothing in front of them. Now you have a new running back in.
Louis Fajardo.
Louis in again. You had a little movement at the left tackle. just anticipated the snap count, so they're going to lose 5 yards on that one.
Well, these mistakes are not hurting you tonight, but Hillcrest has got to fix this by the time they hit in the league play. It's going to get a whole lot tougher in a couple weeks.
And I would look for them as a staff and a program that's confident is that they will self-correct. When they go over and talk about it, I expect that to be fixed before the game's over. They'll work on that.
Fajardo, 1 to beat at the 2, and he beat him. Touchdown, Hillcrest.
Wasn't that impressive? And look how much the linemen go to celebrate. The linemen are unselfish. They're celebrating with the running backs. I always thought that was a great sign. That the line, it doesn't matter who scores. It doesn't matter who gets the credit. The linemen are down there celebrating with the running back, and you have another score. And they right now, despite their few mistakes, they're able to rebound and still take advantage, despite a few penalties. You had the penalty that drove them back on the
hold to begin,
right?
return.
And then on the return, and then they had the illegal procedure, and they were able to overcome both of those. So I'm sure they're going to get a little bit of a chewing on the sideline to correct those. And what's great about if we can ever get a shot of the TV down there on the sideline, I'm telling you that is one of the best tools to help kids self-correct and learn muscle memory of what they're doing, because they get to critique themselves and make instantaneous corrections when they come off the field, and coaches can show them what they're doing and things get corrected.
There it is, right there.
Just beautiful, and thank you for that shot. And they'll go over and say, hey, you did this well, we need to work on this, and it's just a great innovation, I think. And finally they're able to do that at the college level. Finally they're able to use, I think, iPads this year where they haven't been able to use that before.
Now, usually that resource you would have to wait till Monday to get that bird's eye view and go over tape, but not anymore.
For years you would
Mufton,
look at
Hillcrest,
that.
It looks like they got to the 36. There is a late flag down.
So while they discuss that real quickly, for years and years, you had to rely, coaches and staff, with players communicating when you came off. Each coach would take their players and say, okay, what happened? You break into your subgroups of the D-line, linebackers, and you would say, what happened? And a lot of the times the kids would say, I did this and I did that, and in the heat of the moment, you would go look at video on Monday and you would say, that's not what happened. And it's natural. You play in the heat of battle, and so when you have this TV and you have this great replay system, it makes the game, I think, so much better, and it gives people an opportunity to correct and coaches to employ things they couldn't do otherwise. I think it's a great investment. Usually you get help from a booster club to do that, and the community takes pride in that. It is a big expense. But another example of a good staff doing what they need to do to build a program and give the kids a chance to win. Every advantage you can give them, you try to give them.
Yeah, case in point, just last week, working sideline when Hillcrest played Ramona, a lot of the game the coaches were looking at the tape, imploring about better blocking offensively. And that has immediately translated to time.
And when I was, same thing, I was on the sideline the week before against North, and what I noticed going back and forth was Ramona coaches were set, and the players knew the routine was to come off the field and go sit down immediately so they could get a few seconds with their coach so they could get instruction and see what was going on. And so you see the better programs trying to take advantage of that, and I do think it's an advantage.
Lead official Donnell Jerry, you saw there, talking to Travis Carter, Omar Perkins, umpire, head linesman Bobby Pruitt, Ed Robinson, line judge, and Edmund Brooks is the back judge. That's the new 2024 technology, but, I might need even more technology to figure out what in the world has just happened here, Coach.
I'm not sure, and I do think it's better. It does slow the game down, but you want to get it right. And they're
replaying the kickoff. Yeah. I mean, we already saw a recovery.
And I don't know what happened, and I think they're trying to get an explanation down there. But I do appreciate, and I think coaches do appreciate when the crew wants to get it right, and if they can just say, this is what we think happened. And sometimes you say, did you see that? And sometimes the best answer for them, if they don't see it, is to say, I missed it, we missed it, and you can respect that. So we don't know what happened.
Well, this kickoff is driven past Scott.
Now that's a live ball.
Into the end zone.
A little risky there, huh?
And had it not, Hillcrest could have recovered that ball.
You know, once it travels 10 yards and hit the ground, it is a live ball, and you're counting on the momentum. And if it somehow takes a bad bounce, that's a live ball.
So I had this conversation with JR, and this should carry over to the first quarter because I love this conversation. You're maybe 5 miles, Hillcrest and La Sierra. We're looking at a Hillcrest program that has won 28 games in 6 years with Travis Carter. And then we have La Sierra, who has won 4 in the last 3 years with Sean Moore. Same location, same access to players, but sometimes it's beyond just location when it comes to success of a program.
It takes a village to run a good football program, and it takes so many people behind the scenes to carry out the vision and support the vision of the head coach. Administrators, parents, assistant principals, teachers, and it does take a community to have the same vision and support each other. And I think consistency is very important. Travis had a vision. He's been able to get people to buy in, to get kids to buy in. His administration is obviously supportive. And at La Sierra, they've had change. They've had definite change.
Number 2, TJ Avalana with that catch and run. We'll see if they run a play before the quarter, and they will not. Or at least the scoreboard hit 0 over here, and Zach Erb, gain of 1. There's the horn. First quarter complete, 21-0 Hillcrest. So when you became the head coach of Poly a few years ago, what was your immediate first reaction? Did you go coaching staff? What was the strategy for you?
The strategy was to set a culture. Coach DeWitt had done a good job, and I was given some directives some things had to be done, and so you have to lay your vision out to the community, and so that everybody is on the same page and that everybody knows their role, and then you try to put people in a position to do what they do best, and you let the kids know that these are the benchmarks for our program. We're going to stay the course, and we're going to get better. And so, and really you have to give people credit when they're supportive, and it does take a community to be supportive. And Coach Gilbert right now is having success, and the programs at Poly right now is doing a very good job. The administration supportive, the kids are buying in, and so it does take more than just a coach or players. Football does not, in my opinion, does not exist in a vacuum. It exists as part of a school community, and it is important for the school community and the football team to work together to make the whole school better. Football sets the program for the entire year, and so I do think administration is extremely important, and when you see a successful football program, you're going to have a successful administration that supports them, and teachers and parents and support staff. Everybody is working together behind the scenes, and a lot of times they don't care who gets the credit.
Yeah, just an incredible program built here at Hillcrest High School. Draw to TJ Avalana for the first down. We do have a game update. Other Riverside TV doubleheader game. Your Poly Bears down early 7-0 to King early in the second quarter. King has looked like, speaking of fantastic programs, according to Max Preps, King is the highest rated high school program in Riverside.
And that's no surprise. They do. Coach McMains is another coach. And you see a nice run here, a nice change of direction. And La Sierra has 2 runs in a row, and not to take away from them at all, but Coach McMains deserves all the credit in the world, again, for taking over a program, setting a vision, sticking to it, being supported by his administration, building a good staff, building culture, and that's another coach in Riverside. Riverside has some very, very good coaches, very good coaches.
So, according to Max Preps, it goes King number 1, a pretty sizable gap, actually. About 75 schools in California from number 1 to number 2. They rated Ramona at 2 and then Norte Vista at 3. To me, I get it. Rams are better than last year. Norte Vista has to be in front of them.
That's why you play the game, and it's going to be a great game. And that ball just goes off the fingers, a little bit overthrown. But Riverside football is going to be exciting.
Yep.
What's exciting about Riverside football is now they're playing each other, and for so many years that didn't happen after the Ivy League broke up. And Jeff Gorham talked about that with you last week about Steve Madrill, a baseball coach at King, advocating for that to come back. And so now everybody's playing each other. I just think it's great for Riverside community. It's great for the teams. It's great for old rivalries to be set up. And Riverside teams made some noise in the playoffs, and they'll do the same thing again this year.
Yeah, this was such an incredible irregularity. Maybe one team a year would play someone else from Riverside. Now it's, we have city championships every other week here, which is amazing. And now the leagues are set up where the Sun Belt and River Valley basically host all of the Riverside teams minus King. King's in a league of their own.
And that is the Rain Cross League has the 3 divisions, and you go up if you finish in the top 3, you go down, and so they're insured to play each other. And the willingness of the coaches to play each other in the preseason is key. Great job.
Just a pinpoint pass. Chaz Scott, touchdown La Sierra.
Impressive throw. Impressive catch and throw. And now they have a flag down.
The area of holding.
And it's just a shame to see that have to come back, because it was a great throw. The receiver stayed with the tip. And another illustration is why you never quit. You just never know how the ball's going to tip or be bounced. And so now they're going to have to come back and try to make another play here. Down 3 scores. And it's not that they can't move the ball. They've been able to move the ball, Nick. We've both seen them make good plays. They're athletic. They've had effective passing, effective running. They just haven't been able to put a drive together.
So, as a coach, do you ever take into consideration who the officials are during the week and how they officiate a game?
I don't think you can do that, and I'll tell you why. I think it is, when I was younger, and a lot of younger coaches, they're combative, and I don't think that does you any good. I really do think that we have a crisis now in high school football, because the crews have been mistreated by parents and coaches. And so the last 5 or so years, I really had a change of heart about officiating crews, and I just learned to thank them before the game and try to build a relationship with them. And I think in the end, that might have helped get some calls.
But even if it doesn't, those are just people down there doing their job.
And they work hard, and it is hard. Think about every week coming out and getting abused, and it happens at the youth level. It's hard to get people in. Good play design, great call.
6'3", 170-pound Nicholas Shaw, leading the league in every receiving category except for yards. His own teammate, Julian Sandoval, has the slight edge going into the ball game tonight. That one dropped by Jacob McDowell, as the Trojan quarterback, Matthew Ramos, is really carving up this defense tonight.
Just a miscue. Look that ball in, and I'm sure that he'll make a play the next time they throw him the ball.
Sometimes it's that first touch that really can give you a rhythm, and you can certainly credit Matthew Ramos for getting everyone involved, not just the playmakers of Sandoval and Shaw.
Now you've got some space and a unique formation at the top, a little confusion.
A wide 2x2, flag is down, false start yet again on Hillcrest.
You had some confusion at the top. They were trying to stack the receivers, and I don't think they had everybody on the same page, and then somebody jumped offside, so a little bit disappointing again. These little errors, I'm sure Coach Carter and the staff are going to really work hard on getting their team to concentrate a little bit harder. So you got a bunch formation into the boundary, which is new.
Another creative formation for the quarterback, and Nicholas Shaw was out in the inside. Julian Sandoval to the outside. Touchdown Hillcrest.
The design of this play was beautiful. They faked a screen to McDowell, I believe, and then it was called a screen and go, and so the blocker who was supposed to go out and block did a little pump fake, and he ran by. So he took advantage of the screen and the aggressiveness of the defense. Beautiful play design.
Another just masterful job dialing that one up from Travis Carter to have the bunch, not just that bunch formation, but to throw it out in the middle of a game. It's one thing to kind of run that practice and kind of practice it in the game every other play. But they waited until this part of the field. You knew that was a play they prepared for weeks. That exact spot to make that happen.
And that's a shot. It's what on your play menu there are certain plays. Watch, it's a great. This is definitely a shot meant to have meant to make a big play here. So they're just waiting. Great patience. The person who went out to block for the fake screen went pump fake and go. So that's a shot. It's called a shot. There's usually a menu that offensive coordinators have, and they look to that.
Check it out again over here, Coach.
Okay, great job. So the point man here is going to fake blocking, and then he's going to go. So they sent two of them, and he just took his pick. Great. I mean, good play design.
If a defense runs a zone against that, you cannot stop those two receivers. Either the inside is open or the outside is
I think
open
that's what they counted on, and you're exactly right. And good play design. So now, if you're a defensive coach, you have to say, look, what do we need to take away? Well, we got to take away the possible deep play, and you can't be as aggressive on the screen.
Or on the run.
Yeah, and that's what happens.
It's a live football,
wow.
like you said, Coach, reeled in at the 19.
So the last play, we had a little mental error that they didn't have to pay for. They let the ball go, and they did the same thing here. So special teams redeeming itself. People hustling down the field, and you'll see the replay. It becomes a live ball when it travels 10 yards, and it's live.
Just an incredible job by the kickoff man.
So they just mistake responsibility. Usually in that area, it's called a pooch kick. There's a name for that kind of kick where you plan to put it right in the hole there and see if anybody responds to it. Great job. And I bet they practice that and call pooch, and then they kick it to that hole on either side of the field. Wonderful job.
Well, he may be in his early 30s, but Travis Carter, we've seen about a dozen good play calls tonight. Julian Sandoval with blocking, good luck. He's at the 10, heads to the end zone, and he's got a hat trick tonight. 3 touchdown grabs, Julian Sandoval.
You know what, a little game within a game, Nick. A lot of the times when teams face turnovers on defense, defensive coordinators use as a strategy a blitz to slow down the turnover momentum. So obviously Travis and his staff, Matt Montello, they anticipated a blitz. We got a flag to negate that, but they blitzed them and they called a screen. So that's a little game within a game that they made a great call on, and unfortunately you have a penalty to bring it back.
Now I do wonder if any of these plays are adjusted at the line by Matthew Ramos, or if all these, Travis Carter kind of sees something going into the drive.
So when you have the receivers looking back at the line, usually you get out there on the ball fast, you have some time on the clock, the coordinator will overlook the defense and then give a call to the quarterback, and it's called the check with me strategy. So a little run game. So a lot of the time the offensive coordinator will look at the defensive structure and they have an option, and then they will give a code or a call to the quarterback, and they let the offensive coordinator look over the defense. So like right now, everything's set up. He looks it over, he gives them a call, and they decide whether to run or pass the ball. And that way the coaches take a lot of the burden off of the quarterbacks to read.
Well, the quarterback takes off and throws one to the ground.
That looks similar to a rollout and an interception thrown last week, and it was a good thing that he dropped it. It went off the hands, I believe, of La Sierra defender.
Maybe a bit of a gunslinger, you could say, Matthew Ramos.
Make things happen, and I think he's telling them right now, look, you need to cool out a little bit, and you got to make a wise decision when a play's dead. He rolls out here, and he could have thrown the ball away, and he tried to make something happen, and it almost was an interception.
Kind of like a Brett Favre, you know.
There you go.
He, Mike McCarthy, drawing a blank, Seahawk coach who was playing with them. A heart attack every week coaching Brett Favre. Here's Louis Fajardo. Nope, actually they faked it to him. Quarterback keeps it to the 18.
I think they were looking to throw ball on a post, and it was closed, and so the quarterback had to pull the ball. So La Sierra here becoming more effective on defense, because this is a tough position to be in, and they've been able to slow them down a little bit. So then you have this bunch formation again to the bottom. We'll see if they have a series of plays, the third play in the series, or they're going to run the ball.
Well, it's a nickel defense they're up against, but first, a pre-snap penalty. Offsides.
And a good job changing the snap cadence. And instead of calling everything on one, it's just a variance of the snap cadence to slow them down. And they did it. They were the victim of that in the first quarter. And so now they get 5 yards. It slows down the defensive line. And now you get to run the same play. It looks like they have the same formation.
Fajardo in the backfield. Ramos on a bootleg. He finds a seam. Here's the quarterback in for the touchdown.
Impressive run to the outside.
Nope, they call him down to the half. My apologies. It appeared he scored.
And it looked like that was a little mistake he made on his own. Nick, what do you think?
In terms of what again?
Well, it looked like he could have made it in. I thought he may have stepped out early. I don't think he was forced. Maybe I missed it, but
I believe he got a foot in and the ball in. I'm really perplexed why they didn't call a touchdown there.
So again, they line up fast. You got to move on to the next play. So they're lined up really quickly.
They'll go ground.
And they're stopped. Good stop by La Sierra.
Marvelous job in the middle. Nope, they call a touchdown.
Oh, boy.
So
called it a little bit too early on my part.
Ruben Guillen Jr. looked like pulled him down. Nonetheless, I guess a touchdown. Let's see that again.
There's a better view. Great camera job. Good job with the cameras and the replays that help us make sense of this. And good push. Well, I don't know. That was close. But definitely all that matters is what the crew calls. And so now we're at a 4-score game and a much different outcome. 5 scores, much different outcome than last week.
So my evaluation, Coach, tonight is that Hillcrest has been making La Sierra guess all night, and they're taking advantage of those guesses.
Runs, passes, they blitz, they throw screens. They cover the screens, they throw screen and goes.
And it's all mixed up to the point where it seems every time La Sierra blitzes, they knew the exact time to run that play action, deep pass. And we saw on the 4th down play, they run defense crashes in, and the quarterback goes out. It seems every time La Sierra has one game plan, they counter it with a better game plan.
The offensive staff is prepared. They've guessed right, and I don't think all of it's guessing. I think some of it's strategy. They've watched a lot of video. They're experienced. They do a good job coaching. The kids have executed. Despite their mistakes, they've been able to come back and be opportunistic. But Coach Carter talked about his staff and his trying to get his players to continue to work hard and to concentrate and improve and not rest on their laurels and get better. So I'm sure they're going to be on them about not mentally taking a break because they're up 35-0.
Yeah, that's what makes next week's game such a challenge at Lakeside. This time returned by Eric Mays. He finds a seam, spins away. A return of 15, taken down to the 32-yard line. Reyes Ortiz there for special teams. And for folks that are listening tonight are wondering, boy, this guy John Rice sure does know his stuff. He was a coach for nearly 40 years, so, he knows a thing or two about this.
Oh, you know what? You make a lot of mistakes. You learn by doing, and I enjoy the game. I enjoy what effort the coaches put in. I appreciate what it takes now for staffs and community to do well, and I just love to see kids be successful, enjoy the game. I think there's so many life lessons you can teach with football, and Coach Carter and his staff do a fantastic job. And if we ever can get a picture down there right now or in between plays of the staff in front of the television working with the linemen, the coaches are taking advantage right now.
We're throwing a jump ball. A lot of contact out there, and in fact, it is a penalty on Hillcrest. Number 22, Ray Cowsey. Good coverage.
I just got a little bit I just was peeking down there, and at corner of my eye, I'm seeing Hillcrest. The linemen are working with their coach to correct some mistakes, and they're looking at the TV using that as a teaching, and they're not celebrating. They're looking and trying to get better, and that's a key. So great play. It was a very good throw by the La Sierra quarterback.
Would you look at that? The players don't need a coach, do they?
And they were just up there reading, and so they're up there, and now the player looks like he's going to turn on the TV. Nice job on the screen.
Chaz Scott to the 44-yard line, wrapped up by Gustavo Martinez.
So let's see if they can score here and counter one of the touchdowns and just get a drive going. La Sierra needs to put something together here and score one touchdown at a time and not lose patience. They have some great athletes, and they've made some great plays tonight. They just haven't been able to put anything together.
Well, we saw the touchdown to Chaz Scott negated by a penalty, and La Sierra has, on a couple of occasions, entered the Hillcrest side of the 50. In fact, they were a couple yards away from the end zone in the first quarter of the game before a pick six. The touchdown negated, but nonetheless, an interception of the goal line hampered that drive.
You have single coverage at the top.
Roy with the check down. TJ Avalana finds a seam and a good run to the 25-yard line, shoved out by Cossey.
Impressive job by the quarterback. His main option was covered on a down and in route, so he checked down to the running back, who made a great play. And
Robert Lozano.
You'll see the quarterback pump here and then throw the ball outside. It's called a check down route, and he just hustles. And now you have some momentum going, and they're down, in deep in territory, and you got another first down.
TJ Avalana powers his way to about the 21-yard line. Speaking of good athletes, La Sierra's got a good one at number 2, TJ Avalana. He'll be dearly missed, a senior running back, closing in on 1,000 career rushing yards and another 4 there.
Like him, he runs hard. He's low center of gravity. He breaks tackles. Extra effort when he has the ball. He's talented. He catches the ball. He runs the ball. He's got good hands. See if La Sierra can put something together here and finish.
Maura McCoy in there, split to the right for this offense, but Roy looks left all the way and throws it to the ground. So, Coach, what's the difference between a talented team that struggles to win and a talented team that does win?
I've heard a few things over the years, and one of them is a team that does fewer things well, does the same thing 1,000 times well. And I'm mixing my metaphors here, but somebody that has a team that does the simple things in an excellent fashion over and over and over, instead of trying to do a lot of things average. Teams that have a routine and culture and expectations.
And all that stuff takes time, as Travis Carter's been here for 6 years. Another sack. We saw Jose Beltran early in the game, and if I'm not mistaken, that is Jose Beltran again. Yes, he is.
And Beltran, Coach talked about him before the game and was singing his praises. What a great football. And look at him, just great effort, him working hard and not giving up, just pushed his way, just impressive play. And going back to what makes a good program is that when you're young, you think that plays win games and you're going to get a magic play or a magic defense. And what you learn is that execution wins games, and there's no magic defenses, there's no magic offenses. And that's a great kick right there, but a little bit short.
Andres Vargas, wow.
Beautiful kick. And what you learn is that there's no shortcuts to success. Plays don't win games. You're not going to go to a clinic and you're not going to find a magic play. There's no magic defense or magic offense. It's just a matter of doing the right, preparing to win. Everybody says they want to win, but not everybody has the will to prepare to win, and then doing what's necessary day in and day out, giving excellent effort, building relationships with your players, staying the course when you face criticism, being able to self-correct, being able to do an internal check on how you can improve, just seeking self-improvement, staying humble, and if it was easy to do, everybody would win.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes in our society today, everything is short-term, so another great run.
Incredible blocking, too. Ventus with a 23-yard scamper. Tristan Pasalakwa with the tackle.
25 yards on the play. First and 10, Trojans.
That's what you're seeing right now, Coach, with the Kansas City Chiefs. A very experienced program and a lot of guys that are bought into the little things. Patrick Mahomes in 2018 takes over a starter, throws for 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, but they don't win until they become a more balanced football team and a more, There is a word for it.
Consistent. I don't. There's a couple things, and you make a great point.
But it's more the daily, the little things that make a difference. In winning or losing.
The grind, the expectations, the execution on a daily basis, carrying out the vision, a sense of excellence, a standard set by the coach in all things. The standard is the standard.
More discipline
Nick
is the word I was
Saban,
trying to use.
yeah, Nick Saban says he's famous for saying the standard is the standard, and you don't make it less. It is what it is. And you need to have people come up to the standard and not lower your standards as a coach.
Off the play fake, he was hit as he
Beautiful.
throws, and it's a beauty.
Wow.
54 yards for a touchdown. Julian Sandoval with the catch.
Just impressive. What do you think is the biggest difference, Nick? What are you seeing that's the biggest difference between this game and their execution in last week? What are you seeing as the biggest difference?
Well, it is hard to say because of the two different teams, I got to tell you.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's a pinch me moment for a day that a veteran coach would ask me what I'm seeing. But what I'm seeing out here is, like I said, the coaching staff kind of knows going into the game. Now, I am curious, how much scouting they really did on La Sierra, but it seems they have an answer for anything they're seeing on defense. Okay, if they're running too high, we're going to run this.
Yep.
Whatever. So Hillcrest, it seems, they have the answers to the test tonight.
That's a great observation. And usually when you build an offensive package, part of building an offensive package, I did offense about half my career, and we tried to think of it on both sides of the ball as a toolbox. And so when you have a toolbox and you are a professional, you have tools that help you do certain jobs. And so the metaphor we always try to use was there are certain tools that you want to use in your toolbox and they become plays. So when you see two safeties or you see a specific strategy, you have a tool in your toolbox. So you prepare with these tools, and that way when you see something, you're not reactive. You have it already done. You've practiced it. And so those tools, and some tools are used more than others. And it's a simple explanation, and that ball's going to probably go out of bounds. Nope, he took it.
He did at about the 19-yard line.
So,
a return of about 8 from Scott.
So back to the metaphor toolboxes, there are tools that you use more often in common. You use a hammer a lot, you use a screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver, and there are common strategies that everybody uses. But then you have specialized tools you use for specialized situations, and so you practice those and you get good at them, so they're in your toolbox. In other words, you don't practice something that week to just get it in the first time. Most of the time, there's a whole plan, an install schedule that Coach Carter and other coaches use to develop their offense. They have an idea what they need to get in. They know how many days of practice they have, how many hours they have, how many minutes they have, and then they have to fit in what they think they can do well, and you can't run it all. And part of being a coach is it's like a toy in a can. You're a kid in a candy store. And good run there. You want to go try to learn from the pros, and good coaches are lifelong learners. They go to clinics. They want to get better. You come back with a great play you want to run, and pretty soon, a lot of the younger coaches, they come back and they want to run everything. They want to run this and run that. They saw it on Sunday. But the fact of the matter is most coaches understand you cannot run everything. You have to make a choice for the proper tools based on what your kids can do, and then you develop those tools. So when you talk about the situations, about what do you do, what does Hilltop do when they see something on defense is, Hillcrest, then you run the play. And so I think they have a great toolbox set up, and they probably have a lot more they haven't had to run yet.
Yeah, and you'll hear it all the time as Aiden Rockwell picks up about 4 here, that sometimes a coaching staff will not use a play almost all year, not use a particular strategy, and that's got to be pretty hard for a coach to be that disciplined.
You know what? And there are some coaches that I came across that had they had a spreadsheet with 10 games on it, and they would plan out trick plays for each week, and they would have them set up as complements to each other. So one week they would show one thing, and the next week they would show another, and it was planned out. Like you said, they wouldn't run everything right away if they didn't need it because they didn't want to show it. So that's another great observation, that there's a big picture and a lot of planning that goes into building your toolbox and using the right tools at the right time.
Yeah, especially because nowadays you have every coach having access to every bit of film.
Oh, yeah.
Anything you put out there is for copy and paste use
Great
for other
point.
programs.
Another great point.
Nicholas Bernal wraps him up. Boy, pinch me moment, I tell you. Boy, John Rice, keep telling me all these good points I'm doing. I'm not the one drawing up the plays, by the way.
But
I'm just an observer.
There are so many good coaches, and you try to be a lifelong learner. And one of the things I did miss, this is probably the first year I didn't go to a clinic in 40 years. I just always wanted to go learn and be with people that, and the older you get, the honest truth is the less you know. If you're honest with yourself, you want to be a lifelong learner, you want to enjoy learning. And I think if you ever get in a position where you're coaching or teaching and you think you know it all, it's probably time to get out. Somebody told me that early in my career, and I was like, oh, boy,
Yeah, I was going to say something similar. When you figured out everything, you probably don't know very much.
And you just look at the professionals, and you look at the pros. Those guys, they in-staff each other. They send coaches to other staffs. Colleges do the same thing. It's about learning and trying to get better. And so to bring that to what's applicable today is that Coach Travis was talking about Josh Mason. They were ready in their growth progression after last year to put more tools in the toolbox. And what he talked about is we ran a certain defense last year, and now we're ready to do some more things. We're ready to add some tools because the other tools we already have, we work. And so you've seen some of that tonight with stemming the line. That's probably new. I don't think they did a lot of that last year. And so the screens are a really good job. So it's really nice to see people progressing with their teaching. You cannot put everything in the first week.
And these are kids too,
Yep.
We saw all those penalties early in the game. Some of that is just maybe players are thinking a lot because there's a lot there to take in.
And you have limited time with them. They're teenagers. They've got stuff going on. Coaches.
They got girlfriends to kiss under the bleachers. They got different things going on. Of course, grades. I guess that's a part of it.
Nice cut.
Vences on the cut. 1 to be to the 10, and he's wrapped up at about the 7-yard line by a mystery man.
And they're running quick pace here. They get a call. Isn't that just a great job by the offensive line? Look at the push they got that play.
Off the play fake, here's the quarterback searching for 49 in the first half, and he got it. Matthew Ramos.
Wow.
49 points if they can hit the PAT. Hillcrest with an incredible first half.
And the effort, the line is hustling down. They got a great push if we get a replay on that. The defense has to collapse on the run. They got great push. The quarterback pulled the ball. They are playing with extreme passion. I mean, I saw a little video last week and I watched the last quarter, but to me, I do see some passion that is just contagious. And I'm sure they're going to try to get better. They're going to watch video. They're going to continue to watch video on the sideline. You're going to get some players to get some experience. This is what you try to do to develop players. Now, what you get a good push. He does a good read. He reads the end. The end isn't concentrating, and then he makes a great play and a good cutback right here. Good little move right here. Good move.
5'7", 150-pound Matthew Ramos, a terrific athlete. His 4th rushing touchdown of the year.
Now, La Sierra by no means is a bad ball club. They have good athletes. They've moved the ball effectively. They've been put in some bad situations defensively with turnovers. So they're going to come out in the second half, and they're going to come back and try to regroup, try to establish something they do well so they can carry it into next week. The half's over. They're going to play a new half and try to win the second half. And then Hillcrest will get a chance to maybe he'll play the starters 1 or 2 series. That's kind of the thing to do. And then you want to get some younger kids in to gain some confidence and get some players in so that when they do play later in the season, they're not as nervous. They've been in games, they play, they get confidence. You build program and confidence that way is get kids in the games.
Valdez, could we have a similar disaster? We just might. Picked up at the 1-yard line by Number 10, Amaro McCoy, and he does avoid a return for Hillcrest, and the half comes to a close. Fitting close of the first half. It just seemed La Sierra, since the first quarter, their energy was down, a little bit flat, and Hillcrest took complete advantage. A thorough beating from the Trojans at 2 quarters complete.
And we'll see what happens in the second half. It's a new ball game for La Sierra. They'll come back and try to win the second half.
You know, I do wonder, and we'll bring it up in the second half, Travis Carter, I tell you, he was just fresh out of high school. This guy, when he joined Mashinsky's coaching staff, I mean, this guy did not have, I'm sure, much of a social life in his 20s, becoming the coach that he is today. An incredible coach, and he's really, this first half, I couldn't have been more impressed by what he put together.
You know, and I'm sure there are many years and many hours of study and self-improvement, and there is a sacrifice that you have to make at anything to be good, and it's showing with his staff. And now some of that's coming to fruition, and I'm sure he wants to keep getting better in the second half and not let the second half go.
We'll get a chance to do it. We'll have updates, stats from this game, along with scores from across the CIF when we return to Zach Erp in Noda Vista. This is the CIF and high school football on Riverside TV.
We are a community with shared values. We know our history and embrace our stories. We believe in respect. We believe in equity. We believe in justice and freedom. We are known for the way we celebrate, for how we create, and the ways we relax. We are known for our flavor and our vibe. We have built our reputation with a commitment to leadership in the areas of agriculture, engineering, creativity, economic development, and environmental responsibility. We are known for our incredible architecture, and the murals that grace our city walls. We value education. We value service. We value the self-made. We value each other. We love art. We love innovation. We love Riverside.
Live local. Help support your favorite businesses with the Shop Riverside Community Card. With over 200 Riverside businesses giving exclusive discounts and offers to community card holders, there's something for everyone. Participating organizations sell these cards for only $15 each, with $10 going straight back to the organization itself, making the Shop Riverside Community Card a fantastic way to support your favorite local group. For more information about the Shop Riverside Community Card and to find participating businesses, please visit shopriversidenow.com. And don't forget to live local. Shop Riverside.
California leads the nation in railroad trespass-related fatalities. In 2021, there were 243 trespass casualties in California. We can all help reduce trespass-related incidents even further if we never trespass on railroad property for any reason. That means no biking or walking near tracks. Railroad property is private property. The only safe place to cross train tracks is at a designated crossing. September is Rail Safety Month. Please do your part. And whenever you see tracks, always think train.
Engine 1 AMR, respond with RPD. Road traffic accident with injuries. In 1234 Main, cross of Columbia, 2 vehicles involved.
Each year, the Riverside City Fire Department responds to 40,000 emergency calls.
431. And the men and women of the Riverside Police Department drive Code 3 every day.
We need your help so you know what to do when you see emergency vehicles.
Pull to the right.
Pull to the right.
Pull to the right. So help us help you.
We need you to pull to the right. We are proud of the Riverside Police Department's tradition of integrity, service, and excellence. RPD officers are disciplined, well-trained professionals who always lean forward to make our community safer and more livable. We are always looking for mature, educated men and women who want to apply their courage and judgment to serve the people of Riverside. If that's who you are, we want to talk to you.
Is for standard household trash and items not suitable for the other bins, such as animal waste, cactus, palm fronds, soil products, and other waste. The green barrel is for your grass clippings, leaves, weeds, and other plant materials, excluding palm fronds, cactus, and yucca. And please remember not to use any of the containers for heavy construction waste such as concrete. For a complete guide to sorting your trash, please visit riversideca.gov/publicworks.
California leads the nation in railroad trespass-related fatalities. In 2021, there were 243 trespass casualties in California. Trespassing is one of the most challenging safety issues plaguing California's railroad corridors. In Riverside County alone, there were 19 trespass-related casualties last year. But the positive news is those numbers have dropped over the years because of the efforts of California Operation Lifesaver and partnering agencies like RCTC and Metrolink. We can all help reduce trespass-related incidents even further if we never trespass. So please do your part. And whenever you see tracks, always think train. And stay off, stay away, stay safe.
We all need to eat, but do you know where our food actually comes from? If you're like most of us, our food starts its life in a land far away, where it's picked and packed before its prime and ripens during transit rather than on the vine. From the fields to packaging facilities to ships to trucks, even airplanes, to local distribution facilities, it's a tiring journey. So why else buy local? Buying local supports farmers and businesses. It creates jobs and raises the community's income. This Grow Riverside initiative has a long-term impact to create a higher quality of life by increasing access to nutritious food and creating local jobs and businesses that help generate sales tax revenue to support vital services such as police, fire, and our local parks. So go out and shop local, eat local, Support our childhood.
Memories of tinkering with her dad in the garage inspired her to start her own business, focused on reimagining the way engineering is taught and making STEM engaging, particularly for young girls. Her business, Tinker the Robot, provides building kits that include everything necessary to create stimulating STEM projects.
A lot of our materials are materials you could buy at Target or Hobby Lobby or buy on Amazon. And so check out our website. You'll have to give us your email, but then we have free PDFs that you can download and do programs like this at home. We want to make sure that science and engineering is accessible and fun.
Library, trash and recycling services for our customers. Convenient curbside trash collection services promote a clean and healthy Riverside. To help us provide you with top quality service, we ask you to follow a few key rules. When placing your trash containers for pickup, please observe the following. Place each container with at least 3 feet separation from each other and at least 6 feet from obstructions such as parked cars, fire hydrants, mailboxes, and trees. Your bin should be placed at the curb no later than 5:30 a.m. on your collection day with the arrow on the lid pointed toward the street to ensure your bins get emptied. If you are experiencing issues with your trash collection or perhaps need a replacement for a damaged trash bin, please contact our customer service call center by using the 311 app or website, or by dialing 951-826-5311 to reach one of our customer service representatives. And for more information about trash services, recycling, or bulky items, visit the Public Works website at riversideca.gov/publicworks.
This place, it's called CryoFix Wellness. We're based in Riverside, California. We are a sports recovery wellness center. We get half athletes or people who are just very active who are looking to recover a lot faster. And then the other half we get is just everyday people who are in chronic pain, chronic inflammation, people who work a lot of hours, who are on their feet all day, that are just looking for more natural ways to help maintain pain relief and help decrease inflammation. Some of the therapies that we offer are whole body cryotherapy, localized cryotherapy, cryofacials, Normatec compression, Theragun therapy, Graston technique, active release therapy, assisted stretching, and cupping. Our most popular therapy is whole body cryotherapy. Essentially, it's cold therapy. I would say for whole body cryotherapy, it's actually a lot easier than a regular ice bath. What it does is it cools the skin really fast, so it helps constrict the veins, which helps flush out toxins that get stuck in the muscles and in the joints, as well as helps fortify the bloodstream, which helps your body heal a lot faster than it would on its own. Riverside, I've been here my whole life, born and raised. It's been really great to just kind of help out my hometown in alternative, natural ways. Probably the best thing about owning this business is seeing someone come in pain and walking out feeling better. Just the other day, we had a high school girl. She came in, could barely walk. She did 2 treatments of the localized cryotherapy, and she came back telling me that she was able to play her game on Saturday. And just seeing that all the time makes me feel really good knowing that I'm providing a service that helps out my community.
The Riverside Libraries have new hours and are now open on Sundays. Now you'll have more time to explore, study, and learn about the things that matter to you the most. The new hours for Arlington, Arlanza, Marcy, La Sierra, Orange Terrace, Eastside, and Casablanca libraries are Tuesday to Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., while the Downtown Main Library is open Tuesday to Thursday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Friday to Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. To find out more information about the new hours along with events and programs at the library nearest to you, visit riversideca.gov/library.
The City of Riverside Public Works Department provides high-quality trash and recycling services for our customers. Our convenient curbside trash collection services help promote a clean and healthy Riverside. But what do you do when you have items too big or heavy for your can? That's where our bulky item pickup service can help. Before you call for help with your bulky items, be aware that not all items are acceptable for our free curbside service. Furniture, tree trimmings that are properly bundled and no longer than 36 inches, water heaters, and other non-hazardous materials are fine for curbside pickup. Appliances containing freons such as refrigerators, freezers, and room air conditioners may also be picked up curbside by separate appointment. Unacceptable items include hazardous waste, antifreeze, paints, filters, and tires. We also cannot pick up electronic waste such as computer monitors and televisions, or fluorescent bulbs and household batteries. Construction or demolition materials such as scrap wood, metal, concrete, doors, and drywall are also not accepted. These items may be dropped off in person for no cost at the Agua Mansa transfer station or at one of our Clean Up Riverside events. For more information and the current schedule for these drop-off events, please visit riversideca.gov/cleanupriverside or call 951-826-5311, your one-stop shop for city services. To schedule a bulky item pickup, first call your service provider for an appointment. On the day of your appointment, please make sure that your items are curbside by 5:30 a.m. You may have up to 5 items picked up at each service call. If you have an appliance containing freon, please call the Appliance Recycling Center of America at 1-800-654-2722 for your free pickup appointment. RPU customers may even qualify for a rebate. Visit riversidepublicutilities.com for information on current residential rebate programs. To find out more about the City of Riverside trash services or our Clean Up Riverside events, visit the Public Works website at riversideca.gov/publicworks.
We are a community with shared values. We know our history and embrace our stories. We believe.
I have stuff on that. I think we're back though. Welcome back, folks. We'll get your score updates and highlights in just a minute. Hillcrest up 49-0. As I do that, Coach, I know we're a little out of breath getting back. Your thoughts of the first half?
Well, Coach Carter wanted to work on specific things. He wanted to improve on special teams. He wanted to correct some mistakes on penalties. And he got more efficient on offense. He did make a comment he didn't want to throw the ball away. I mean, he didn't want to throw an interception on a rollout or a broken play. So his quarterback rolled out a few times and got rid of the ball. They were able to establish the run and the pass. They were able to rely on their left side of their line, so they found a strength. They had moved their right tackle to center before last game, and he was baptized under fire. And he said this would be a good test for their line. So I think they've got some things done. They've built confidence. They did shoot themselves in the foot a few times with some mental errors. So I'm sure they want to clean that up. And I think in the second half, La Sierra wants to definitely settle down and get something that they can do well, that they can carry into the rest of the season. And I'm sure they're telling their players, look, we got to win the half. The first half's done. Let's reestablish ourselves. Let's not make penalties. Let's just take one series at a time. And on the Hillcrest side, you may see the starters 1 or 2 series. And then it's a time to develop some younger players and get them in the game and coach hard and then go correct your mistakes. And you can bet they're going to go over the video, as they say with a metaphor, a fine fine-tooth comb, and they're going to seek and identify mistakes like they did last week and try to improve on them so that they can get better week to week, and they'll be ready for league play.
And we are underway in the second half in what is the fourth of 5 non-league games this season as they prepare, as you mentioned, for the regular year. Out to the 25, Tristan Pasalacqua on the return. Before we look farther at this game, as we look around the league, a score that I am very intrigued of in Temecula, Notre Vista against a good Wolfpack team leads Great Oak 28-21. Your thoughts of that game?
I think the strategic scheduling is a brilliant job by Coach Batdorf because he stepped up level by level, and you've got to get better every week. You can't play the same level of team and get any better. Iron sharpens iron. So that's a great test because that's a very good program and a very strong league. So they're ahead there, and it's the third quarter, and so they're going to be a very, very good team.
Rancho Mirage in front of Ramona at home, 19-13 in the third quarter. Another Riverside TV game in the middle of the third. The Poly Bears at Wheelock in RCC, down 14-12 to the top-rated Max Preps team in Riverside. And King, a big hit in the backfield by Gustavo Martinez.
So La Sierra's strategy was to try to go wide. Maybe that's something they saw on video, but the quarterback just ran a sweep. Great enthusiasm and pursuit to the ball, so they're going to have a long second down. They lost some yards there behind the sticks. So we'll see what their plan is this half if they can establish something. They did have some big plays, but they were unable to put anything together.
As we continue our look around the city of Riverside as well before the second down, Chino Hills has dominated the game against JW North, up 49-6. And for Opalani Vaipulu, it seems the departures of their roster of a year ago have really hampered their opportunities to win games this season. The Huskies may be one of the teams that fall off in 2024.
You know, and their league is a tough league. You have Rancho Verde, you have
Paloma Valley,
Orange Vista.
Yeah.
Very tough league. It doesn't get any easier, but I can tell you the character of that staff and those players, that they are going to dig deep and just go week by week and try to get better. Going to be a challenging year for them, but I think they'll get better like everybody else.
Arlington played yesterday, picked up a 36-25 home win against Buena Park. We'll have the rest of the scores in a moment. That pass incomplete.
To see there, Arlington, if you see a replay, they lined up more in a traditional 3-4, and they blitzed the 2 outside linebackers. So their answer there on third down was to send pressure the first time, and it had the quarterback throw the ball too early, and then La Sierra doesn't come through on their first series. That's got to be discouraging for them, and we'll see who comes out for Hillcrest on offense.
Valley View in front of Colony, 7-3 in a defensive game on the road. We have about 2 or 3 more scores we'll get to you over the course of this third quarter. This one gets by the return man for a moment. They'll go ahead and let that one bounce to about the 16-yard line. And TJ Avalana downs it there. Good punt, setting up a long field for Hillcrest. You know, for those of you just joining us, you would think 49-0. Hillcrest is manhandling them in every phase, but La Sierra has just had some crushing bad breaks. A touchdown wiped out by penalty, a drive inside the 10 of Hillcrest, and a turnover. They've looked good in spots, but Hillcrest is executing better tonight. You
know, and they've made some great plays, as you mentioned, on offense, and had some big gains. They just were not able to put together a series and score.
Actually, I had mentioned more score updates from Riverside. I think we may be it because Patriot, Rubidoux, and Jurupa Valley all have byes this week. 21-12 King over Poly in that update later in the third quarter.
So I wonder if we have any changes out there. We do in the backfield for Hillcrest on their first series.
Instead of Matthew Ramos, I believe that's Alexander Villa Sr. A great run from Louis Fajardo out to near midfield, wrapped up by Emmanuel Quintero.
So the brief story was that on Thursday mornings, the team practices at about 7 in the morning for less than an hour to brush up their traditional Thursday practice. And Coach Carter says it gets there about 6 a.m. And one of the players that gets there at 6 a.m. is Fajardo. And he's there every week. Well, he arrived late to no fault of his own. He had nothing but good things to say about him. And he had a problem that was unavoidable, but he didn't complain at all, and he was able to come back from that, handle what he needed to handle, and he didn't make excuses, and it was certainly something that wasn't his fault. And what I'm just trying to say is that the character of this young man was something that Coach wanted to bring up, and what a great leader he is by his character. And he may not be a starter right now, but the character is how you build programs. And he was just really high on his character. And this one example where he could have blamed others and he didn't. And he told the truth and he came back. And now he's getting a big part of the game tonight, even though he was late to a practice. Stuff happens sometimes.
Now, sometimes I'm sure as a coach you go into a year hoping that there's buy-in from your players, but sometimes you get a gem like that where you don't have to do a whole lot as a coach. There's a player that helps bring the rest of the team together in a positive way.
Yep, and you said it better than I did. That crystallizes what he was trying to say, is that he's got examples of players who are buying in with selflessness, honesty, and leadership by their actions.
Now, the reason why I said it better is because I was that guy. In high school, I played football and track, and I was nowhere near the best player on the team, but I was the hardest worker. And over the course of a year, the players were only mad at me every day for running hard, but eventually, the coaches would thank me because I'm like an extra guy down there pushing them when they can't.
Well, when you have to have a strong scout team. Iron sharpens iron, and that's where guys can help the team become better. Everybody has a role, and they're all very important.
Fajardo, as mentioned, the hardest working guy of this team. He's tucking that ball like a loaf of bread. A 35-yard run. Avalana the tackle, first down. We do have a flag in the area of holding.
They pick up the flag about the 48-yard line. They're discussing it now. And the preliminary call is holding.
Well, there must be some fans out of the stadium that are loving the score. We have a fireworks show just off the field.
So Hillcrest will now take the ball, try to make up the yards. It's first down now. It's a spot foul, so your first and 15. So the penalty was beyond the line of scrimmage.
Fajardo, who seems to be the bell cow for the rest of the game. What is a 49-0 running clock situation? Gain of a couple. Quick update around the California rankings. Here's a look at the top 5. Number 1, Mater Dei plays tomorrow. Number 2, St. John Bosco plays tomorrow. Mission Viejo is blowing out Highland on the road 49-0. Jay Serra leads on the road in Lincoln 21-13. And Centennial plays tomorrow. Those are the top 5 teams in California. Centennial being 1-2 this year is one of the surprises of high school football. Off the play fake, here is the backup quarterback. He's looking like a starter on this play. How about a tightrope from Dylan Bailey? Touchdown Hillcrest.
Invaluable experience. Invaluable experience. And again, look at the linemen go down and celebrate. The team is celebrating. The linemen are celebrating. The sideline is celebrating. Developing players, getting other players in the game to execute. Same effort, same intensity. Invaluable part of the game is getting kids in to develop so that later in the year they're ready to play in a crucial situation.
It could be the quarterback of the future too, Dylan Bailey, a sophomore who scored a 14-yard touchdown run earlier this season. Just his second carry of the year is another touchdown run to lift the lead up to 55. In comes number 82 for the point after, Ethan Valdez.
We're down to 4:28 already in the third quarter because of the running clock.
And that kick is good. So I just teased it going into the half, Coach. Travis Carter, there's a lot of coaches that I'm sure Ken Mashinsky's seen run through his program at Ramona. Travis Carter arrives, and I'm sure Ken thought right away, this is a gem I got. He's a future high school head coach in short order.
It is a joy when your players or your colleagues get promoted. It's a really small community, the coaching community, and people know each other. They work for each other in different jobs. You never know where, you got to be careful. People know each other. You want to be positive. You want to display professionalism. It's a small community, and it's really a joy to see people that succeed. And coaches rely on each other. They have mentors. You call each other. There's friendships built. There's a camaraderie in what you're doing. And I'm sure Coach Mashinsky is very proud of Travis.
Now they get a chance, does Travis Carter and Ken Mashinsky, to embrace on what was one of the great games of the season we saw when those two guys laced it up last week in the 31-26 game. A good return out here to about the 40-yard line out of Amaro McCoy. We do have a man down for the Trojans. Just a moment. Looks like he's okay, Ethan Ramirez. Incredible stuff to see Travis Carter move up the ranks and become the coach that he is. And now the challenge is he's accomplished so much in the regular season. He is just 1-3 in playoff games. Last year lost a barn burner to Linfield Christian, 46-36.
And I'm sure they're ready this year to take the next step. And a lot of that is beyond your control. And when you get in the playoffs, it's a great challenge for your staff and for your players. There's great staffs. The level goes up, the preparation goes up, and I'm sure he's going to have a successful career down the road in the playoffs.
Yeah, this team made it to the Division 11 playoffs last year, Division 9 in the previous two spots. So he is, knocking on the door every year of league titles and playoff wins, just hasn't been able to pull it off. Update King in front of Pauley, 21-18, and Chino Hills in a rout leads North, 51-6. Hemet over Diamond Ranch, 21-0. And Nota Vista up 28-21 over Great Oak. For those who don't have a headache already, Mission Hills over Orange Vista, 7-0. That game in Menifee in the first quarter right now. And Ramona down by 6 to Rancho Mirage. And why those scores matter, I'd say the bigger deal is Hillcrest. Just maybe you can entertain me, Coach, on this. Who do you think is their biggest foe in the Sun Belt League? They got Hemet, Arlington, Rancho Christian, Pauley, and Valley View. Your thoughts on what might be their toughest opponent?
I think Hemet was rated the highest. And I think Hemet will be a challenge for them. They're physical, and I think Pauley's playing King well. King's a good program. I think Pauley may give them trouble. I just think it's going to be a great, great season with some great football.
I think Pauley's Jerron Gilbert is really building a winner down there. This one underthrown and taken away by Eli Trejo, number 81, and he's run out at about the 30-yard line.
Fantastic. Again, everybody's celebrating. Togetherness. Nobody cares who gets the credit. The whole defense is celebrating. Great to see that. La Sierra is just having a real tough night.
You said it.
A good shift again. Shift down by the D-line.
That's Aiden Rockwell who's throwing passes now for him. And another sophomore with a big play. We saw sophomore quarterback Dylan Bailey with a touchdown. Sophomore DB Eli Trejo with the interception. So you had mentioned Hemet, a tough opponent. They are blowing out Diamond Ranch. Granted, they are winless this season.
Yeah, and Hemet just has developed their program the last few years. I remember 3 years ago, and North was really killing it, doing very well, and Hemet came in and played them to overtime. It was they're a very physical team to play North, and since then I think they've done a really good job developing their program with confidence. I think that'll be a great test for both teams.
So that will be a game we do together, John.
Awesome.
October
Awesome.
11th.
That's
Hillcrest
great.
playing home against Hemet.
Well, there you go.
So that'll be a
and
big
so
one.
we'll be right here.
All right.
I love, it's just a great honor to be able to be here and see fellow coaches succeed and run their programs and be here with you, Nick. It's a total blessing for me to do that.
I feel the same way.
And to support the kids and watch programs develop and to see the support of the parents, because the parents sacrifice so much of their time for every football player there. There's a parent or parents that have made sacrifices their entire youth. And there's nothing better than having a son and daughters that have played sports. The parents often, they don't do it because they want credit, but it's so great to have parents here seeing kids succeed and learn life lessons and enjoy their time and be in a structured environment that they enjoy and they learn. I mean, it's just, football has so many great things to offer, and it's great to be a part of the profession.
Now, obviously, I speak this tongue-in-cheek, but how many times, Coach, have you heard a parent say, how come my son's not playing more? Maybe, 100 times?
And it's understandable. Totally you know what, and it comes with the territory, and if you can't handle an honest discussion with a parent, maybe you're in the wrong profession. I mean, you really, a lot of coaches end up with rules where they say you won't talk to parents about playing time until the player has talked to their position coach. There's a hierarchy after that discussion, then with the head coach, and then with the parent. And usually, great job there.
Good throw. Quarterback Alexander Villasenor has his first completion of the year. That one to number 82, Ethan Valdez.
So most times, if a player is required and there's good structure and good management of the team, there's a procedure for that. And when a player is able to meet with their parent and their position coach, usually it doesn't go too much farther than that. And sometimes you got to agree to disagree.
La Sierra brings the blitz, but what an incredible job by this young running back. It appears to be a first down, and Reyes Ortiz, did he get it? The officials say yes, first down.
And on the other side,
Wow.
La Sierra is playing hard. They are not letting up. They're substituting kids in. They're playing 100%.
Yeah, they've got backups in two now.
They're not. Yeah, and they're playing hard. They are not giving up. You don't see them pointing. That was a great blitz by a linebacker who ends up getting on the tackle. They're playing hard. You don't see them pointing fingers, giving up. They're playing their tails off.
Now, maybe a little too much.
Yeah.
Still a little pulled hamstring there for a moment. These are very valuable reps going forward for these young freshmen, sophomore, junior players as they get a little crack at Friday Night Football tonight. Off the blitz, Ortiz with the call, and he gains a yard, maybe two, smothered by the Eagle defense led by Emmanuel Quintero.
And what a hit he did put on and what effort. And again, you have kids cramping a little bit, I think. It's been a hot week. I think we talked about this last week, or 2 weeks ago with JR, is that, early in the season, there's a lot of heat. Kids are playing themselves into shape. Nutrition's really important, keeping your body hydrated. And I don't know that is a cramp, but it looked like it in the beginning. I may have misjudged.
Yeah, no, it looked like he pulled a hamstring last play. Then Ruben Guillen is down right now. And it's
up.
really
It's good
just a rough. Yeah, there he is heading off.
And he may have cramp. And
yeah.
Thank goodness it's just that, and it's recoverable, and you never want to see anybody hurt.
Right.
Let me ask you a question, Nick. What do you see as the difference between this early stage between Hillcrest team this year and last year? What do you see as the differences?
They have playmakers this year. A lot of times they had to grind out wins the hard way, and this is really one of the first years. And it seems like there's always a school or two in Riverside that's like that. A year or two ago, Ramona was like that. Notre Vista has been like that as of late. Just household names, guys that are, moving on to junior colleges or colleges, and that's got to just be so easy if they're bought in, those star players, for a coach to say, all I got to do is get him involved and we'll win football games.
And there, you see some backups, and there was a blitz, and the quarterback threw the ball sidearmed, a little bit short. Timing's going to be off a little bit. We saw a great replay there. Kids are out there playing their tails off. They're trying to get experience. They're playing hard.
Here he is, the quarterback of First Down, Alexander Villasenor. Like 2-3 years ago, Travis Carter, for those of you joining us, he did not have a Nicholas Shaw. He did not have a Julian Sandoval, a guy that is so big and so versatile to where really the playbook's wide open. A couple years ago, I'm sure Travis Carter had maybe half the playbook that he does this year.
And he's able...
A fumble or tease falls on it at the 7.
And that he's able to play these kids speaks to his ability to get ahead in games. And I know we played Hillcrest when we were at Pauley in 2021, 2002 years in a row, and he was building the program. They did a fantastic job coaching, but he didn't have the playmakers you were talking about, and they were still a successful team.
All right, that goes in. That's got to be an encouraging thing, because to some degree, I'm sure La Sierra looks at crosstown rival Hillcrest and says, guys that are right on the border between the two districts may want to just go to Hillcrest because they see this team is winning and, this coach is a likable guy.
And with the transfer culture and the portal in college, kids are consumers of good football programs, and they want to go where they have a chance to play. Yeah. Less and less are willing to stay around, and if they don't think they're going to get time, and it's trickled down to high school. Where do they think they can go to be successful and get reps? So that's a great observation about where parents are going to send their kids. They're more proactive now and more active in where they want their kids to go, and they're able to do that. Their freshman year kind of is a freebie. And you can, if you're accepted, you don't have to live in the area if you're a freshman and you get accepted into a school.
Now, have you noticed that more, Coach, over the years now with the transfer portal, where a guy will go, or a parent will go, if I don't play this amount of snaps, I'm going to go somewhere else?
Sure, and now that's just the way it is, and I think guys like at Clemson, Dabo Sweeney, he has the attitude as he's going to try to attract players. If they choose to leave, that's okay. You just try to attract players by the kind of program you win. And other schools decide they're going to take limited transfers, and then there's some, and you think of Colorado, who took a great number of. So there's different philosophies of how you want to build your program, but and I think maybe that might have led to Nick Saban getting out of the game, even at Alabama, and where they used to develop players and have great competition. Kids say, well, if I'm not going to play, I'm going to go somewhere where I can get reps. But on the other hand, the other side of the coin is it creates parity, because there's not a lot of depth, and someone goes to play somewhere else and they want to, so it's filtered down from college, in my opinion.
Yeah, you said it just right, because Alabama, they could have the greatest recruiting class of all time, but it doesn't matter if their guys don't want to stay there and want the playing time. And the thing with being in Alabama is that it's just one of so many great programs, and you really got to be bought in to live in Tuscaloosa, by the way. So
I haven't been there before, but man, getting a chance to play for Saban would have been awesome. Even to coach and listen to him at practice. We had a story where
it's not too late, Coach, to be his assistant.
I had a friend, Chris King, who's a great coach and was a mentor to me at St. John Bosco, and he was blessed, he said, to go to Alabama and watch practice, and he said he just wanted to hang with drills where he watched Saban coach and how he taught, and he said it was unbelievable. Just a great experience and a blessing. So there you see the shift again on defense.
Yeah, people all day can bring up, TJ Avalana on the call here. He's got a first down and is out of bounds. About maybe not the most likable personalities, Nick Saban and Bill Belichick, but those two were put together on a ESPN. They sit down. They don't have any particular, they just talk about what it's like to be a coach and some X's and O's too. But it was an incredible watch.
It was a stir in the coaching community about coaches anticipating that and recording it and using it as a precious resource. Most coaches want to learn from people who are good, and they want to just sit and learn. There's a success in what they do, and so they have a lot to teach.
But usually, Nick Saban and Bill Belichick are two of the best. Usually to be a good coach, you got to be a good teacher of men. It goes hand in hand. And
develop
there's nobody better for life lessons than Nick Saban and Bill Belichick.
You get, and that's why now with the transfer portal, you can look at the side of the parents and say, I want to send my kid, or the player say, I want to go play for that coach. I want to go play there, and there's more opportunity probably for kids to go play where they want if players are moving around opening roster spots.
Now, that is kind of like the toothpaste is out of the bottle. Transfer portal is out now.
Yeah.
They may adjust it, but that's the way it's going to be.
Yep. And,
you just got to learn to live with it.
One thing coaches are is adaptable. The game changes. They adapt. You got to be able to adapt. The coaches that stay the longest usually are more successful are ones who adapt to trends and the changes in the game.
That's Kirby Smart now, and best of luck to Deion Sanders out there, Colorado. But it is a tough hill to climb, especially because big hit there. Coming right away to a power conference and a power football team. And I think Deion's learning that he's got incredible charisma about him, but there's a lot more to coaching, and he's going to have his challenges.
And it takes time. It takes time to build a program. It just matters how patient, how long is he going to be there. He's got his sons. Who knows how long he's going to stay if you're a recruit. So, and it's just different choices how to run a program. Some people are going to rely on transfers, and some are going to create pressure, and that's what he's chosen to do. High school is such a challenge because you don't get to choose your players. Most of the time, most teams do not recruit. Most teams, they coach who they got.
Now, you did come from a place that probably did a little bit of that.
Sure, and that Trinity League is the best conference in America. That is just a different animal. But
I feel so bad for Orange Lutheran. And
they're great programs.
They're great. Compared to the rest of America, they're an incredible program.
And they will go 5-0, 4-1 in the non-league games, and then, so
1-4.
But there's something for everybody. There's a level for everybody. Not everybody's going to be able to play at one of those schools. There are other kids who are on that track. So there's a place to play for everybody in college if they want to go to a place that's appropriate for their level of talent. So if kids want to play somewhere, there are coaches who will help them find a place to play if they're willing to shoot for the stars and have a backup. And by the way, La Sierra here is playing really hard. They are still playing tough. And that running back puts his head down. Yeah, and he has played a heck of a game.
11 yards and a first down. It goes to show down by this much that they lean on the run, and T.J. Avalana tells you just how good of a football player he is.
And they have built something for the future. They will build on him running the football. He is a very strong runner. He's effective. Look how hard he's running hard. They're blocking downfield. They are playing hard football. They haven't given up. That's a great sign. They're building for the future. This formation was the one where they ran toss to both sides a few different times. We'll see if they do that again.
Now they sure do. T.J. Avalana with a convoy, cuts it back. He's got just one to beat and gets a block out there too, but he is slowed down to the 28-yard line. Avalana maybe a little too patient running the ball. Could have scored, but still a big run on the first down.
He's a workhorse. I mean, I don't blame him. Usually you try to tell kids to stay in the game. He is a workhorse.
He
Impressive.
looks like one of those guys that looks for contact.
You can see him breathing, right? You can see him breathing hard, and good vision. Good cutback. Maybe runs out of gas, like you said.
Right.
Just kind of says, I'm tired. But
I think that was
great effort, right? Great effort.
I was thinking maybe he's not used to running with no one around him. He's used to having guys all over him.
And, when you're watching a game as a coach and you're watching a team that's struggling, you really notice how they're coached and what effort they have when they get behind. And La Sierra has not quit, so to speak. They are playing hard. They're trying to score. Guys are blocking downfield. They're giving great effort. And you can build on that.
Well, best of luck this year. This is our lone Riverside TV broadcast with La Sierra. They play at Moreno Valley on Thursday the 19th. Meanwhile, Hillcrest will close the preseason with a Friday visit to the Lancers of Lakeside. That's about say, from their campus, maybe a 30, 35-minute drive to Lake Elsinore. Going for pride points. This one's picked off at the 10-yard line. How about 2 interceptions today out of Eli Trejo, and he's out of bounds.
Hey, and a similar pass, similar portion of the field, threw to his left, threw a deep ball. And I don't know if he had trouble with the grip on the ball, but that's the second time that's happened. So, again, La Sierra has something to build on. They found their running game. They have some things to work on. They played hard. They run the ball very effectively. They move the ball well. They just have to work on consistency. And Hillcrest grew a ton tonight offensively. They did some nice things on defense. They added some tools to their toolbox, and that's what Travis said Josh Mason was going to do. And Demetric Watts, the linebacker coach, he wanted to send his praise out to his staff, give thanks to them. They do a great job. His offensive line, unselfish kid, so there's a lot of good things that are going on in his program, and I'm sure he's got to be proud, but at the same time, he's going to be working hard to correct problems and get better and prepare for league.
Fantastic performance from Hillcrest today, winning the game 56-0. Make sure to join us next week. Jeff and Gonzal are calling the Thursday game between King and Murrieta Valley. I believe Bo Baumhauer, if I'm not mistaken, Burmeister, out for the year at quarterback, but they still do have a phenomenal football team all the way around. That'll be a tough challenge.
So Bachmeyer is out. I hadn't heard that.
Bachmeyer, yeah.
That's too bad. He is a great ball player.
Sure is. He's like one of the top 10 quarterbacks in America.
You know, saw him play live against Centennial last year. Phenomenal.
Phenomenal player.
Yep.
Meanwhile, we have our next broadcast, John, is next Friday, Notre Vista against Granite Hills, and then also Ramona and Pauley is the other part of our doubleheader on Riverside TV.
Hey, whatever we get to do is going to be a blessing. It's going to be great. Had a great time tonight, and we're really happy for Travis, and La Sierra is going to grow from this, and we'll be back next week.
Sure will. My game ball, Julian Sandoval, number 2. He had 3 touchdowns tonight. John, you'd say the same thing?
I would agree with that, and there was so much to look for that the choice was hard for Hillcrest, but good choice. I think the game ball's a great one. We can start doing that every week. It'd be a great tradition to do it.
I should have warmed you up to it.
Hey, but I heard about that, and it's a great suggestion.
Sure is.
Anytime you can lift up a player, it's a great idea.
All right, Julian Sandoval, our player of the game. Hillcrest 56, La Sierra nothing. For our outstanding crew and John Rice as well, I'm Nick Rice. We'll see you next week right here on Riverside TV.